Greetings, and welcome to Tales from the Asylum.
The Girl in the Dark Forest by Dawn Matthews. It was Halloween night. A boy named Clancy was out in his jester costume, acquiring candy from the neighbors. He was with a bunch of his friends, running the streets and playing tricks on people. After a few hours, most of the other boys had gone home. Clancy didn't want to go home yet. Halloween only came once a year, and he intended on making the most of the holiday. Clancy managed to convince his friend Kenny to come with him to explore the woods. It was said that the woods by their houses was haunted. The boys had discussed exploring the woods many times. Clancy decided since they were both 12, they needed to man up and explore the woods to see if they really were haunted. The boys walked through the old deserted neighborhood that bordered the woods. It was said that everybody left because of whatever it was that lived in the woods. Clancy didn't believe in ghosts. If they did exist, he was certain that far scarier things existed that would make ghosts look silly. Kenny was terrified and complained, saying they should go home the whole time. Though walking through the deserted neighborhood was pretty creepy, but Clancy wouldn't admit that out loud. Kenny's fear made Clancy even more determined to get to the forest. Finally, the two boys made it to the end of the neighborhood and the beginning of the forest. They paused right in front of the spot where the pavement ended and the grass began. Both boys took a deep breath and let it out. "We can turn back around and come back sometime during the day," Kenny said. "Nobody would say we chickened out. Nobody even knows we're here. There could be some weird old guy in there just waiting for two kids. It's dangerous." "That's what makes it fun, Kenny," Clancy said. "Besides, I want to do this on Halloween night. If we find anything interesting, we can come back tomorrow. If we don't do this tonight, we'll have to wait a whole year to try again." They stood there, gazing into the dark forest for a couple of minutes as if they were in a trance. Clancy shook himself out of it. "Come on," he said. "We have to do this before it gets too late." Clancy slowly started walking towards the forest. Kenny took one look back at the deserted neighborhood, wondering what it was in the forest that chased them all away. It was rumored that some people were killed by some horrible monster before everyone left the neighborhood. Suddenly, Kenny realized he was alone. "Hey!" Kenny yelled. "Wait for me!" He ran to catch up to Clancy, who was just about to step into the actual woods. Both boys looked into the dense forest, then looked at each other. "Flashlights," they said in unison. The boys fished in their bags for the flashlights they brought specifically to venture into the woods. They pulled out their flashlights and turned them on, then walked into the forest. "What if it's a werewolf?" Kenny asked. "I've never heard any stories about a werewolf being in here," Clancy replied. "I think we'd have heard about something like that." "What could it be then?" Kenny asked. "I don't know," Clancy said. "That's what we're going to find out." They walked for a few minutes before they realized they kept making turns. "Do you know where you're going?" Kenny asked. "No," Clancy said. I didn't realize I was making turns." They continued in silence for a while, but neither boy knew how long they had been walking. "Clancy, I think we're lost," Kenny said. They heard little girls giggling and both stopped in their tracks. "What was that?" Kenny whispered. "Who's out there?" Clancy yelled. "Let's get out of here!" Kenny screamed. He started running before Clancy could respond. Clancy ran after him, but a tree branch grabbed Kenny's leg and he fell. The branch dragged him backward. Right before he got to Clancy, he was pulled underground. "Kenny!" Clancy screamed as he tried to dig under the ground where Kenny was stuck in. He could find no trace of him. His heart was racing and he wasn't sure what to do. He decided he had to go for help fast before Kenny died. He ran as fast as he could, but he was lost. He had no idea which direction the abandoned neighborhood was in. "Aw, are you lost?" a little girl's voice said. "Yes," Clancy was panicking. "My friend, he was just the branch." "This is no ordinary forest," she said. "But that's why you came, isn't it, Clancy?" He was shaken out of his panicked state and looked more closely at the girl. She looked like she was around his age, maybe younger. She didn't act like it. She moved with such confidence and purpose. She was wearing a dark red dress that matched her long hair. "How do you know my name?" At this point, Clancy was scared out of his mind. Something was wrong with this girl. "We called for you," she said. He remembered hearing a voice in his head. "Come to me," she said in his head. "Come to the haunted forest." "What are you?" he asked. She smiled, revealing fangs in the light of his flashlight. Clancy's breath caught in his throat. When he recovered himself, he said, "You're a vampire!" The girl giggled. "I am many things. A vampire is one of those things, but fear not. I did not call you here to eat you. I do appreciate you bringing a snack, though." Aghast, he realized that she meant Kenny. "Kenny is my friend. You give him back." She giggled again. "This forest is not for his eyes. It was you I called, not him." "Why?" Clancy asked. "Why call me?" "You are mine," she said. "You are more like me than like him." She pointed to the ground where Kenny was swallowed up. "I'm not a vampire," Clancy said. After he said it, he wasn't so sure he should have. "You are," she said, "but you don't remember." "You will. For now, know that I will be with you and protect you at all times. You will remember this as a dream. When you are asked what happened to Kenny, you say you and Kenny left each other to go home. You don't know what happened after that." "Yes, Kenny went home. I will see him tomorrow," Clancy said in a dreamlike state. "You are in your bed and dreaming of me," she said. "You will dream of me again." She put Clancy in his bed at home. She returned to the woods and the underground cave where Kenny was. He looked at her for a minute. "Who are you?" Kenny asked. "I'm just a nightmare," she said. Her eyes started to glow red, and she grabbed him and bit his neck. She sucked out all the blood and dropped him to the ground. A swarm of creatures surrounded her and Kenny. She lifted her arms, and the creatures pounced on Kenny. They tore him to shreds and left nothing of him. Even his bones were consumed. Clancy awoke and got ready for his day. It was a school day. When he went to the bus stop, he saw cops waiting for him. He only remembered the girl as a dream. He remembered going trick-or-treating with Kenny, then they went home. Nobody ever found any evidence to the contrary.